Have you ever wondered something like, does electronic devices affect our communication? It seems like an easy question to answer, and it is something that many people also do not consider when communicating in real life and through social media. Along the same lines, our team decided to look into this issue as it is something that everyone encounters. According to global digital trends, more than 50% of the people around the world use social networks to communicate. Thanks to our research in all kinds of perspectives, like national and cultural perspectives, we were able to identify several positive and negative effects that social networks leave in the way we communicate. That is why today we come to the deal with the question of how does the misusing of social networks affect the communication between people? We aim to promote changes in the way students are communicating through social media and create awareness of the affectations by presenting them the negative and positive consequences.
First, we survey students from 8th grade about this topic. All of them have electronic devices. We have found that from the 20 students, only 7 of them were aware of the problems that social media have in communication. Even most of them prefer talking in real life than digital. 60% of them changes their vocabulary when talking in real life and when talking digital. When they use social media, they use abbreviations that can cause a mutation in the language. This includes grammatical errors. Even if this mode of communication can be more effective when speaking on social networks, in face-to-face communication, these errors can alter the message. This actualization to every language made by the technology forces the language to adapt, which can complicate communication for those who have trouble communicating with others, but also it can contribute with the evolution of how we refer to other people. We investigate cultural perspectives from the United States, Colombia, and Spain. Thanks to this, we conclude that these affectations and communications are seen to a greater or less depending on the time social networks are used. For example, people in the United States with low income are very dependent to their electronic devices. We need to remember also that electronic devices and technology is something very accepted and used in American culture. This can cause an addiction or disorder. We can verify this thanks to an interview we did to an American English teacher who works in New Jersey with high school students.
Do you think that we're losing face to face communication due to technology?
Yes, and that's the other thing. Nowadays, it's all through the cell phone or sending little videos or pictures. And the kids, even when you see them in person, they don't look at you at the eye as they're talking to you, or they get distracted easily and they don't want to talk. Like, they don't want to talk on the phone, they just want to text. You see, so there's a difference there. You want to go ahead and hang out with your friend? No, we're good, because the kids are not coming out prepared. And when they say not prepared, doesn't mean academically, but it means more when it comes with relating with each other, communicating with each other. We've had a lot of kids that only last in a job a week or 2 weeks because they can't just stay away from their cell phone. They don't have those communication skills that we used to have years before.
However, in the United States, it is very difficult to find a norm that regulates the way in which content is reproduced. If a social network or an electronic device causes harm to a person, added whatever it's an addiction or a disorder, it will enter into govern their general civil liability. Now, which applies these cases related to network as well as to any scenario in which we're in a culprit for generating a physical, mental, or emotional affection.
So thanks to the interview, we've identified that another consequence of social media communication is the misinterpretation and the misunderstanding of the message.
For example, if it's just texting, sometimes you can't hear the voice of the person and you might get the wrong message. And sometimes that causes a lot of misinterpretation in the communication, because it's not like when you communicate face to face, that you can see the people's expression, hear their voices. Now, the other thing is if it's a video too, most of the time people try to communicate in the videos, but they're not really who they are because they try to be somebody else. Yes, most of the time what I've seen is that when they're trying to communicate, there's always, most of the time, I would say not always, but most of the time they're miscommunicating by the words they use. If it's texting, they might not use the right word. And sometimes they try to communicate with English native speakers, and they use words that the English native speakers will consider to be rude, or it might have another definition. And even adults who have their cell phones in their hands, I mean, you're talking to them, they listen to a sound like a text message or anything, and then they just go to it, and there goes your conversation.
However, social media also have positive consequences in communication. Let's remember that United States is a country in which a lot of foreign cultures live. So social media helps between the communication of these cultures.
I have kids from different parts of the country who speak different languages, and they have a very close relationship with each other. They don't speak their language, but they're communicating using these devices to communicate. But also it's good because we have kids who are very quiet. They don't like to socialize, but when they're in social media, they do. And that's how they communicate, by texting. Again, it has its positive and its negative. There's so many parents that they can't control this. They are the ones who paid for the phone and the bill and everything, and they don't have control of the cell phone. The kids just, they go to sleep late. Parents don't know what to do. My kid is always on the phone. I mean, is there a solution for the problem technology is causing? No, it might work for some people. They might, try some strategies. They might try some things.
Okay, secondly, we have Spain. In Spain, a study of ESO compulsory secondary education verified that the 90.8% of the students connect to the internet every day. The 96.9% feel happy with this connection, and the 81.6% felt relaxed and in calm. However, not everything is pink, and in Spain, the 42% of the young people have received messages with sexual content, which led us the hypothesis that one in five suffers cyberbullying. This is very related with the bad communication in Spain, because we can identify that the communication and the technology or social media have a relationship, but have a bad control and bad results in young people that suffers abuse. Thank you.
Ya forma parte de la vida de las personas, es un elemento común, forma parte del trabajo diario, de la comunicación diaria y del desempeño diario de las personas.
¿Que las personas jóvenes hacen un buen uso de esta herramienta?
Para un determinado momento podríamos decir que si hay demasiado uso y eso les resta relaciones de otro tipo, más nos desplazamos a la interacción a través del celular, estamos perdiendo una gran parte de lo que es el desarrollo de la persona. Que es mucho más valioso hablar con una persona en directo que estar hablando a través de un celular o comunicarse a través de un chat.
Profe, ¿qué riesgos consideras que son más comunes? Mientras uno habla por celular, en teclado, la persona lo puede leer de otra manera, como se está expresando. Sí. Entonces, ¿qué riesgos tú consideras que esta comunicación puede generar, digamos, dentro de ahora mismo en el contexto escolar entre los adolescentes?
Tomar como muchas más libertades en lo que nosotros decimos o hacemos. Cuando uno estamos hablando directamente con una persona, medimos muy bien las palabras y cómo estamos interviniendo. Con el celular no tenemos criterio en eso, no tenemos medida, y somos capaces de decir cualquier barbaridad. La comunicación a través de celular permite una comunicación masiva, es decir, yo mando un mensaje y lo lee quien quiera, pero hay una comunicación masiva, y no es tan personal. Estamos haciendo generalidades, estamos diciendo cosas que no tienen por qué ser ciertas en todos los casos.
For Spain, face-to-face communication is very important. Most of the traditions include sharing between people, like the family. This use of social media can affect the culture's tradition as well as how they are developed. Also, communication through social media implies in other social aspects of Spain people. They don't watch their words when speaking face to face, that it is very different when speaking in social networks. However, as we said at the start of the video, the creation of new words and the evolution for the Spanish language, because of the technology impact, improves the way we communicate in real life, making it more easier to understand for some people that are very immersed in the social networks world. Not to all. That is another disadvantage.
Lastly, we would like to talk about our home country, Colombia. In Colombia, an interview found out that 85% of Colombians will expose their profiles in social media in order to find friends of a life. The 70% will do this without problems in order to get discounts in stores. Most also say that they don't care the lack of privacy if they also have access to external experience, as assuring a good property for renting. Also, lots of this could be interpreted as Colombians not having a good control over the information they put in, like social media, and they also seem to have changed and shifted towards this more communication in the social media in a way that they cannot even leave it behind. Also, some studies have found out that Colombia is the third country with the most people that use social media, just behind China and the United States, I think. So Colombia is a country in which communication and technology are deeply related, but they're not correctly controlled.
Depende de los acuerdos que tengan cada una de las comunidades, de lo que piensen o argumenten cada una de las comunidades para poder desarrollar de manera de bienestar.
¿Qué consecuencias o riesgos puede tener el mal uso de las tecnologías en la comunicación entre pares?
Que no existe un uso responsable de las redes sociales o pueden ser utilizados por personas de manera anónima. Pues al utilizar el Instagram de manera anónima podemos atentar contra los derechos personales que tienen cada uno de los estudiantes, y a veces en las tecnologías pues no existe el proceso de retroinformación, y de alguna manera cuando yo envío un escrito tú puedes tomar una interpretación del mismo y eso puede generar problemas o dificultades en la comunicación y la generación de conflictos. El exceso del uso y la falta de la enseñanza frente al uso pueden generar las tensiones y los problemas. El hecho de que tengan un acceso constante a las tecnologías puede privarlos de cosas que pasan en el mundo real, que son muy importantes, que pueden privarlos del relacionamiento. Un niño de preescolar o en etapa preescolar que tenga un abuso de la tecnología, pues lo que va a hacer es que va a perder las interacciones con sus compañeros, les va a retardar el lenguaje, va a tener problemas socioafectivos.
¿Cómo crees que se puede preservar la comunicación personal y al mismo tiempo el uso de las tecnologías?
No sé si se acuerdan en el tiempo de la pandemia que era lo que más uno extrañaba. Posibilidad de tener contacto, el contacto humano, el contacto más cercano, la posibilidad de hablar con personas, de interactuar con personas en el mundo real. Y eso se comienza a perder. Entonces, la mezcla perfecta está entre la posibilidad de no perder el mundo real por estar mezclado solo en el mundo virtual. Y eso se hace a través de la enseñanza ética del manejo de las tecnologías.
We can conclude that our investigation on the cultural perspectives was effective, since after this, 18 of the 20 students understood the positive and negative consequences of social media and communication. They clearly understood the three cultural perspectives we investigate and we demonstrate to them. In conclusion, not all the affectations are negative, there are also positive consequences. Social media is a tool that can be used to facilitate the communication between people over high distances, for quick responses, for an easier communication between people with no communication skills, and for communication between different cultures or different languages. However, these also have its negative parts, like losing the communicative skills, sexual harassment, and misunderstandings in the communication, which can lead to several social and economic problems, even affecting other aspects of the people's life. We took cultural perspectives into account to generate our solutions. We all agree in adding awareness, building through social media, which could educate people on the possible effects social media has on communication and how it changes things from virtual to face-to-face communication. The strict regulations and recommendations in social media communication, we as group proposed a solution during the research process could help in the improvement of assertive and clear communication between people. Even so, it could have some limitations since the rules cannot be followed. Even affectations in live communication will decrease, they wouldn't be solved at all. We learned that because of the importance this tendency has in the world, we can't eliminate this problem completely. So regulations would be need to decrease the severity of the consequences, even if it is not solved at all. However, we individually can change some things to improve and prevent negative consequences when talking through social media and face-to-face. 8th graders should consider this. When talking about social media, we need to take care about the language we are using since this can be misinterpreted. We need to remember that the vocabulary we use for talking through social media is not the same as we talk to someone in real life. Second, we can also reduce consciously the time we spend communicating by social media. This addiction is correlated with the loss of communicative skills and loss of attention when talking. In addition to carefully choosing your words, we also need to consider the audience we are communicating to when doing this. Finally, to prevent harassment and other types of cyber conflicts by bad communication in social media, avoid posting personal information.